Welcome to Tomlin's Harmonica Podcast. I'm your host, Tomlin, and this is the place to be for a variety of harmonica-related content, including interviews, lessons, and discussions about all aspects of harmonica playing. This podcast is brought to you by the Tomlin Harmonica School, where I provide a step-by-step curriculum for beginners to advanced intermediate players, as well as personalized feedback and all the resources you need to get better at blues harmonica. Go to tomlinharmonicaschool.com to get your first month for $1 using the promo code PODCAST. My guest today is a versatile player and songwriter from Sweden who's passionate about combining roots music with contemporary rock and pop. She is the fantastic Elin Öberg, also known as Luffar Lo O. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. And thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. So I'm really happy to be here.
It's absolutely my pleasure. I've been really looking forward to chatting to you. Loads of my students were really excited about me chatting to you, so I think it's going to be good. So for people who don't know very much about you, I said that you're from Sweden, but will you tell us a little bit more about where you're from and what it's like there at the moment?
Yeah, okay. So I live in Stockholm. And what it's like here at the moment, it's pretty depressing everywhere. Especially for musicians, I think. About me, I'm a harmonica player. I've lived in Stockholm I'm actually from Stockholm, but I've lived around Sweden for a while, and I recently came back to Stockholm, which is like the best place to be when you want to enjoy the music scene.
Very cool, very cool. It is kind of depressing to be a musician in general at the moment. If people are listening to this in the future, we're doing this podcast in the middle. Well, it's not the middle, but it's at some point during the COVID lockdown. I kind of thought it would be over by now, but here we are.
We all did.
So are you not doing any gigs at all? Is it still completely locked down where you are?
It's not a completely lockdown here yet, but the restrictions are getting stronger. Mm-hmm. I actually did a gig a few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, with my duo. Mm-hmm. And it was 50 people in the audience, which is, it was like a real gig, a small but real gig. And I found myself looking for the camera because I've been doing several live streams this year. So it was just, it was a bit confusing, actually looking into people's faces. But so good.
Oh wow! I am so jealous. I've not even been in a room with my band since March.
Really?
Yeah.
But I've heard the restrictions in the UK is a lot harder than in Sweden.
Yeah, they are pretty strict, and it's difficult because I've started getting emails from students saying, "Oh, are you going to do a workshop next year? And are you going to do all this stuff?" And I'm like, I just don't know. I just can't plan anything. It's kind of depressing. But anyway.
You can't even meet your band.
What's that?
Well, you can't even meet your band right now.
No, so I can meet one at a time. So I can go and say hi to the drummer and then separately go and say hi to the bassist, etc., etc. And we can't go into each other's homes and we can't go into studios. It's all a bit sad. But we won't dwell on the negative stuff. Because there's a lot of that. We can chat about whether you've been able to find some time to work on new things or practice new things. You said before we started recording that you were practicing today. What were you working on?
Yeah, this year it has been a pretty good year for taking the time to do other things instead of playing gigs. So I think I've been really productive actually during this year. Especially with the practicing. Mm-hmm. I love practicing and I practice a lot. And I have plenty of routines around practicing. So it's always I always have super firm goals to go to.
Awesome.
So practicing a lot. I've been doing a few collaborations with other musicians.
I
And
saw. I've got to interrupt because I've been watching loads of your collaborations and
yeah,
they're all brilliant. But
ooh,
the one that kind of pops into I think quite a lot of people's minds is the Will Wild one,
yeah,
which was very very cool. But then that made me go and listen to more and more of the collaborations. There was a very cool one which I thought was cool because it was so different, which was with a bassist,
yeah, the
bass and
Spanish bass.
harmonica. That
Yeah,
was awesome. That was very very
yeah.
cool.
It
Are these
has
people you
been
already knew?
no, and that's the interesting thing. This year, while staying at home, I've been networking a lot more via social media, and lots of musicians are just reaching out to other musicians. So the bass player, an Argentinian bass player living in Spain, she just wrote to me on Instagram and said, "Hey, we should do this 1 minute collaboration." And it's such an easy thing to do, and you're actually working with someone.
Yeah, that's very cool. I also watched your bluegrass video, and I was wondering if bluegrass is a style that you've started working on recently, or is that something you've always been interested in?
No, it's really recently.
Nice.
I started in like September. It was a band, a Swedish band, who asked me to record a harmonica on one of their new songs, like for yeah, in the studio. And I said yes, but I didn't actually really know how to play bluegrass on the harmonica. I just had like a an idea of it, but I did a lot of research and. Yeah, and then I put down the hours just practicing it. And the thing with bluegrass, what I found, it's you play a lot of major pentatonic scale, and you need to work on your speed, or I needed to work on my speed. So it was a lot of practicing with a metronome, and I started at maybe like 50% of the actual speed, and then after like I think it took me like 5 weeks to get up to the real speed.
Nice. It's very,
Yeah.
very cool. Yeah, it's funny. I did some lessons with Roly Platt. God, it must be a couple of years ago now. And basically, I was just like, just give me something new and cool, and I just want to learn something new and get out of my comfort zone. And he made me do bluegrass stuff, and I was like, why are we doing this? And I just got obsessed with these exercises, and it was things like playing on the offbeat, like
Yeah.
just really fast, like kind of 160 BPM for 5 minutes without stopping. And you're just like, I'm gonna start hyperventilating. It's all draw. Like, how do I do this? But it was so good for me
Yeah.
to kind of get out of my blues comfort zone, do something a
Yeah.
bit different. But yeah, I really enjoyed that video. I thought it was very cool.
I think it was so much fun doing, and it's so much fun playing bluegrass. I
Yeah.
think also like practicing the speed in that way really contributes to like my overall technique.
Totally.
So
Well, don't you think that the most interesting, not just harmonica players, but all musicians, the ones that are most interesting are the ones that steal from different styles, even if they're
definitely.
a blues player, they have a bit of this and a bit of that.
Mm.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, I do want to talk a little bit more about your various projects and things, but before we do that, I'd love to kind of get a bit of your origin story, because there isn't a lot of stuff out there. So I'd love to know kind of how it all started, whether you come from a musical family.
I don't. I don't come up from a musical family, and I don't have like any official education in music. So I'm pretty much like self-taught. But I did. I always had like a really strong interest in music, but it took a long time before I like had the courage to actually start pursuing it, and especially professionally. But I started playing like classical guitar when I was 10.
Oh wow.
Not like really. Yeah, I didn't spend a lot of time on it, but I think that was like kind of put down my basis on how to understand music and notation. So I started playing guitar. I've been singing a lot. I sang in like a band in high school, And then when I was 20 years old, I found the harmonica, and that was like the epiphany for me.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean
And
that's. I think it's good for people to hear that. There's not necessarily not every instrument is going to make you kind of fall in love with it, and it sometimes takes a bit of trial and error to find the one that works for you.
yeah,
That's very
definitely.
cool. And so what made you pick up the harmonica? How did you get there? Because it's quite a weird instrument to find unless you
It
see
is.
someone doing it.
It is. Well, I had a job as a mailman, postal worker.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was 20, and I had so much time during the day to listen to music. And I decided that I would start from the beginning of like modern Western pop culture and listen my way up until today.
Uh-huh.
So I started like in the 20s, and pretty early on I encountered blues. Then, of course, I've listened to blues before, but this was like a whole new thing. And it was when I came to the 60s and I listened to the Yardbirds.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I heard a song, one of their songs called Steeled Blues, which is just an instrumental, like blues, slow blues, with a lead harmonica on it. And I heard it and I was just like amazed. I just had to, I just had to try it. I just love the tone of the harmonica. It's just so soulful and interesting. It doesn't sound like anything else.
No. Absolutely. It's funny. I was going to ask you about this journey of listening to music because I read about you doing this. I was like, wow, was she really this disciplined, just kind of working through from the beginning? Yeah.
You know, I'm very disciplined.
Nice.
Overall. That's why I like practicing that much, because yeah, if I decide on doing something, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
So
I think that's kind of a common theme with musicians, kind of, especially pro musicians. Like it's there's a discipline and a level of obsession, and I think you need it because you have to put in so many hours. Students don't really understand that that there's so much repetition of things that you think you can do, but you've got to do it until you know that you can't get it wrong.
but I love having the experience of putting that much time into something. I think that brings me a lot of what do you say?
Fulfillment?
Yeah, fulfillment. And if next time I'm gonna start something new, I know it's just practicing and putting down the hours, like learning a new instrument or like learning another new skill. Once you've done it, you know how to do it, and you know it's possible if you just put down the time. And I think a lot of people who's not musicians don't understand that like way of practicing the process.
It's definitely a process. But do you not find that a little bit intimidating? Because you know the process now. So, for example, I started learning keyboard last year, and it was really hard for me because I know how long it takes. I was like, man, I'm being a beginner again. I don't want to be a beginner again. Is that not a bit intimidating?
Yeah, that's why I don't do it that often.
Fair.
I stick with my harmonica.
That's sensible.
During this year, I've been practicing my singing a lot more, though.
Okay.
And unlike I use the same kind of routines for practicing harmonica for singing, and it has helped me a lot. And during the gig I did a few weeks ago, I was the lead singer, so I had to practice before that,
Very cool.
and it went really well.
Nice. Well, I did listen to you singing. Is this with the duo Root Imperial?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been listening to some of your stuff and heard you singing, and it sounds great. So do more of that. That would be very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said that you came across the Yardbirds and that got you excited. Which other harmonica players or other musicians got you excited about playing?
Well, when I started, Well, it was several of the Swedish harmonica players like active at the time. So Filip Jers, if you know.
I don't.
No?
I
Oh,
will. I
okay.
will check him out.
He's like the biggest name in Sweden,
Okay.
Filip Jers. But he plays a lot of jazz
Okay.
and like classical music.
Nice. Is
Mick,
diatonic or chromatic?
both.
Both. Cool.
Yeah. Also, another Swedish player called Mikael Fall.
I'm gonna write all these down and put them in the show notes so that A, I can check them out, and B, anyone listening can check them out as well.
Yeah, cool. But it was also several of the like traditional players, like Sonny Boy Williamson, Big Mama Thornton gave me lots of inspiration. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. It's cool because we get Sonny Boy Williamson quite a lot and Big Mama Thornton, but getting some Swedish players, it adds a lot more interest for people to broaden their harmonica horizons. So thank you for that. Very cool. So when you started kind of listening and getting excited about harmonica, how did actually learning it come about? Did you have some mentors or teachers to help you along?
I started off with like a beginner's book, and that got me like pretty far. But I did join like a group class for harmonica for beginners, which I don't know how much I actually learned from that one. Like playing single notes, melodies, you can do that on your own. And I was interested in the blues. But it was actually when I met other musicians who was interested in blues that I could start like really developing. Like I met the guitar player in my band, Moa Brandt, and we started playing together like quite early, just after a few years since I started. And I think just playing with other musicians helped me a lot.
Yeah.
And then came YouTube.
YouTube has helped so many people. I wouldn't have been able to get started without Adam Gusso. I think that was kind of the most important part of my harmonica journey at the beginning. Very cool. I think it's really good for people to hear that you jumped in quite early into playing with other musicians, because I certainly know a lot of my students think about one day, like my biggest goal ever will be to play with other musicians. But actually, you should really start playing with other musicians as soon as you can, because you learn so much more from that than anything else. And I'm happy to say this on the record. You will learn more from playing with other musicians than you will from taking lessons with me. And I'll also say any other teacher, because it's a different thing. It's like you have to make it work, don't you?
Yeah, I totally agree. And this is what I tell beginners as well. Just find a guitar player or a pianist to start playing with as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Also, you get like you get more push of getting better if you have someone else to hear you playing.
Definitely. No, I think
also start playing live as soon as possible. Like go to open mics. I think that is so important. And I think I was lucky just like finding the right people to play with, and they pushed me a lot. So I started playing live early. And it sounded like shit. Absolutely horrible. And I have some recordings today that I can listen to from that time, and it's horrible, but I'm so proud that I did that.
I think you have to, if you wait until you're brilliant before getting up on stage, you'll never get up on stage, and you'll never be brilliant. You just need to throw yourself at it. There was a brilliant video that Jason Ritchie put up a few years ago, which was him in a high school band. I think it was playing Summertime or some kind of jazz standard. And it wasn't the Jason Ritchie that we know now, obviously. And it was great to hear him as a relative beginner. I think, it's important to know that everyone starts at some point.
Yeah, you just got to do it. Just get over yourself.
Absolutely.
Do it.
Okay, let's kind of go towards the kind of the musical journey, because you've got quite a busy repertoire of bands and things. You've got the kind of roots rock band, Among Links. You've got the 8-piece Ladies Got the Blues, and you've got your duo, Root Imperial. So and maybe other things. Have I missed out on other musical projects?
No, that's like the main things, and then I do some like smaller projects as well. But that's like my bands.
Okay, that's cool. So which one came first, and kind of how did it all get started?
It was Among Links, which is like my main band, and where I also write a lot of the music too. We started playing in 2013, but under another name. We started off as like a blues trio.
Okay.
And then gradually we took in the stand-up bass and drums as well. And when we got a new singer in 2014, we also changed the name. So Among Links from 2014. And since then, we've recorded 3 albums, 1 EP and 2 full-length albums. And the latest one came last year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And are you working on anything new with them, kind of for when lockdown eases?
Yeah, I am writing a lot of stuff right now. Not sure to what project yet, to my own projects or to Among Links, but we're thinking about trying to record something next year.
Very cool.
Like an EP or something like that.
And I bet you must be desperate to go and play some gigs and do some touring.
You're absolutely right.
I don't know about you, but my wife will sense that I've got that kind of energy of you need to go outside and play some music. Yeah. And she's very good at telling me to go and find my friends and jam with them. She hasn't been able to do that for the last 9 months. And I think, there's a little bit of kind of built up kind of musical energy that needs to come out, and I'm not really sure how to deal with that. Yeah,
you need to find like some sort of substitute for it.
Yeah. Well,
this year I've been exercising so much more than usually just to get like some kind of kick.
Yeah. You were saying before we started recording, you were saying that you're doing jump rope.
Weighted jump ropes.
Weighted jump ropes. That must be pretty hard work, because that's what boxers do, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's serious exercise. You made it sound, when we first started, you made it sound like it was quite lighthearted and gentle, but I'm visualizing something a lot more hardcore now.
Yeah. Well, you got to do something to get your kicks.
Definitely. Very cool. And I wanted to talk to you a bit about about Ladies Got the Blues. And I kind of want to bring in a question from one of my students, because I think that it kind of comes together a little bit with the band, because Ladies Got the Blues is all about paying tribute to women in blues, isn't it? And it's an all-female band, which is quite unusual in the genre. And Aidan, the student, wanted to know why you think there aren't more female harmonica players or even female blues players in general.
Yeah, it is. It makes me really sad. That's the truth, because it is. I know quite a few really good female harmonica players, but it's not in comparison as with the male players. but I think it is like a bad circle. If you don't have any role models, it's it's harder to start playing. And I think that was the thing for me. I didn't have the courage to start playing earlier because I didn't think I could do it.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't know like any female harmonica players at the time. Of course, I know I could do it, but I think it's just a harder step to take. And also, you do get a lot of weird comments and like sexist comments when you're a female musician. So it is a lot harder, I think.
Oh, definitely. I used to, well, one of my favorite drummers to work with, who I now can't work with anymore because she's too famous, which is very cool. She plays with Katie Tunstall now. But we used to play all the time, and people would come up to me and say things like, "Yeah, she's pretty good for a girl." And I'm like, and they were always drummers, and they were always terrible drummers, and I was like, she's an awesome drummer, like full stop. Who cares? But yeah, it is. There's so much of that culture because it's such a macho world. You know, the blues jazz scene. And it's Aidan was very complimentary about Ladies Got the Blues, and he hopes that's going to kind of provide a great role model for more kind of younger female harmonica players.
Well, that's our main goal with that project, just to get some representation out on the blues scene, because there are a lot of female musicians in Sweden, a lot more than in other countries, I think.
Okay.
So doing that project, because it just started as a project, we were supposed to do one show, but then it got so popular that we started touring with it. But just like doing like a project like that together, we didn't know each other at all. It was just we were connected through like social media, and it was just such a empowering thing to experience.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's a very, very cool project. It's a little bit sad that it's necessary. You know, it would be great if it was just kind of normal, but I think there are more and more kind of high-profile female harmonica players, including yourself. So that's only a good thing. I'm getting more female students in my online school, which is very cool. It's still a bit weird at kind of in-person events. It's very male, and I can imagine that being very difficult to kind of break into and arrive, and you know, being one woman in a room of 50 men, even if they're all very friendly, it's just it's a difficult environment.
It is. I think the main thing is that you have to prove yourself all the time. Like I have to prove that I'm really good or better than the other ones just because I'm a woman.
Yeah.
And also when you're a beginner, you have to be a beginner at some time. And I think that was hard for me. Like I want to prove myself that I'm this good, but I was a beginner, so I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't prove anything. But look at me now.
Yeah. Well, you know, you've put in all the disciplined practice. And actually, I kind of wanted to chat about routines and stuff, because I'm obsessed with kind of routines and goal setting, and you know that's how my mind works as well. So I'm kind of interested in what your routine is. Like how do you practice?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I try to practice 2 hours a day during weekdays. And I try to mix the stuff that I'm doing. So I'm a big fan of transcribing. So I try to do that as much as possible, and I think that has really helped me a lot. Just like listening, and also to other instruments, like transcribing guitar riffs and even singing has helped me a lot. But I sit a lot with a metronome, like I'm trying to like speed up on my licks.
Yeah.
I do like patterns, like scale patterns a lot. I do some like chugging or like chord
Yeah.
progressions as well. But I try to like do 10 minutes of this, and then I do 20 minutes of this, and the things that the most fun stuff I try to like save to the last hour, so I can just like go through the skills.
Yeah. Yeah, we call that eating your vegetables before you get your dessert.
Exactly. So how do you do it?
It's pretty similar, but I have this kind of weird thing where I have to sort of split my time evenly between technical practice, repertoire practice, and improvisation practice. So however much time I have will get split into those things. And like technical practice, it's there's a lot of scale work, often a lot of kind of bend practice, and just getting those bends sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. Because I think that's the thing that people don't really realize. You know, you can hit the bend, and then you spend another 20 years, 30 years like trying to get it perfect every single time. Which we probably shouldn't tell a beginner, because it's quite a big big task. Things like that, and then repertoire. Yeah, I do a lot of transcription as well. I think that's one of the most powerful exercises, because it makes you more musical. I think, you know, it develops your ear. And yeah, transcribing other instruments is great. I find transcribing other instruments very difficult. It's something that I find it hard to tune my ear in, unless it's guitar, because I play guitar. But guitar and harmonica, anything else is quite difficult, and that means it's good for me because it's difficult.
Yeah, I've tried doing saxophone a
Oh
few
yeah.
times. It's hard. It's hard to get like the tone, but I think that you often have to like put a lot of time into details.
Yeah.
Like what you said with the bends. Like you can spend an hour just blowing in hole 3, or not blowing, dragging.
Drawing.
Drawing.
Yeah.
Sorry. Or working on your vibrate. Sorry, my English. I'm losing my English.
No, your English is brilliant. Vibrato.
Vibrato. Yeah, and that's like even harder when transcribing another instrument.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because every instrument has its own things that it does naturally, and if you try and copy that, it's really difficult, because your instrument doesn't do those things naturally. But I think that makes you a more interesting player if you look at other instruments. So no, that's very cool. I could keep chatting for ages. We were talking at the beginning of how long this is normally going to go on for, and basically I'm trying to keep it kind of concise, but I want to keep going for hours and hours. But I will keep it concise, and we can maybe do a round 2 at some point, if you're keen. But I do have a few questions from students, just some kind of quick ones. So a couple of my students, Christos and Bara, wanted to know what brand harmonica you use, and if you customize them at all.
Yes, I use the Hohner Marine Band Deluxe, and I have other combs to them all. So I've bought combs from Blue Moon Harmonica, and also from the Swedish player and like Horner endorser, Joel Andersson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I do modify my harmonicas a little bit myself. I'm not very good at it. So just the other week, actually, I had them in on service at another harmonica players. So yeah, modifying. I need them to be modified a lot for me.
Okay, cool. And is that because I do hear overblowing in your playing, and is that part of the reason you want to have that kind of responsiveness? Or
yeah, and I also play. I have a lot of attack playing. I play like pretty hard.
Yeah.
So the harmonicas can't be choking on me.
Nice. Have you tried Zeidel for playing more hard? How did you find them?
Yeah, I am not too keen on the Seidel.
Okay.
I haven't played that much with them. I know I should try them a lot more, just because, yeah, because of what you just said, playing harder. But I really like the softness with the with the Hohner
Yeah.
harmonicas. They feel so, like, yeah, soft and, I don't know, easy to. They follow you
Yeah,
easy.
I know exactly what you mean. I have probably 50-50. Well, not 50. I have a whole mix. I play everything. And sometimes I want to have a bit of a fight. So I'll pick
Yeah.
up the Zeidel. And then other times I want it to be relaxed and sweet and gentle. And so it'll be, a crossover or something like that.
Yeah.
So one of my students watched your collaboration with Will Wild. In fact, a couple of them did, and were wondering if you were both using wild-tuned harmonicas.
No, I wasn't. I
Cool.
was using the regular Richter tune.
Richter, very cool.
Richter.
And Nick wanted to know if you felt intimidated doing the collaboration with Will Wild.
No, not at all. Intimidated. I mean, he's a brilliant player, and I am learning a lot from him. He's such a role model, especially like playing rock on the harmonica. We share that like ambition.
Yeah.
So it was just so much fun doing the collaboration with him. We had such a good collab with the whole process. And yeah, maybe a little bit intimidated, to be honest.
There it is.
But I never felt like I couldn't do this, or
Yeah.
like, no, I'm good at my stuff.
Yeah.
And he's really good with the shredding.
Yeah. Do you know what, it's funny. I did a workshop with Will a few years ago, and I went to pick him up, and like I've just seen Will the rock star. He's got this image that he has, and I went to pick him up from the station, and then took him back to my apartment, and he ran up to my cat, and he was like, "Oh, cat!" And it was like, "Oh, you're not this kind of image that you have out there." And like he was just so nice, and I was so surprised by how kind of sweet and gentle he was.
Such a humble person.
Yeah.
Such a humble person.
And a fantastic teacher, really, really good teacher. Yeah, very, very cool. Awesome. Well, I don't want to take up too much more of your time today. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. Before we do go away, what would you like people to check out of yours? I'm going to be putting links to all your bands. Is there anything else you want me to put in the show notes?
Oh yeah, I would say check out my YouTube channel. I'm working on 2 new collaborations right now. One with Indonesian harmonica player Sarah Saputri.
Cool.
So that's going to be there in a few weeks, maybe. Also, I would recommend you all to listen to our recorded music with Among Links. Our latest album, Movement, is on Spotify and like all other streaming services. And we're really happy with the latest album, so check that out.
Very cool. And I will reiterate that as well. It's a fantastic album, definitely worth listening to. You should be very happy with it because it's awesome.
Thank
so
you.
I'll definitely link all of that up. And
But Tomlin, I have to say, like, your the platform, the teaching platform that you build up, it's so impressive. I mean,
thank you.
the work you put into creating that platform on your own website, on YouTube. I can't imagine how many people you're helping with starting playing harmonica.
Oh, thank you so much.
And like when I started practicing a lot more intensively in like 2015, I looked at your videos and I've learned so much from you. So I just want to say thank you.
Oh, well, thank you for saying that. That's amazing. And I did not expect that. Awesome. Well, that's very cool. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. And hopefully we can hang out at some point and actually play some music on a stage together. That would be very cool.
That would be a dream. Yeah.
Awesome.
Maybe
Well,
next year or the year after.
well, as soon as we can, as soon as travel is open, I'm just going to be going to a million different places simultaneously. Awesome. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will hopefully catch up with you soon.
Yeah, cool.
All right,
Thank
cheers.
you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of my Harmonica podcast. Please don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your podcast service of choice. And if you're ready to take your harmonica playing to the next level, then you should check out my online harmonica school over at tomlinharmonicaschool.com. Happy harping!